So we have with us Dr. E. Venkatrao, Professor Community Medicine and Principal Investigator for Covaxin trials at IMS and some hospitals. And we are really privileged, Doctor, that you are here with us today to answer queries on vaccination. So I would not waste much time. I would first just like to inform you that we have started a page on social media on COVID resources in Odisha, wherein we are trying to give verified information to people about different resources. It could be regarding, awareness. It could be regarding oxygen supply. It could be regarding availability of the vaccine slots that are being opening up new vaccination centers. It could be about home quarantine facilities within the state. It could be about home delivery. So we have a team of volunteers, and we are trying to verify all the information coming from different sources and posting it on social media so that people in time of need can come to the page and look for the information that they want. And I have been getting a lot of queries on vaccination, which is the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you. And I really have to thank you on behalf of everyone. Really, thank you so much for taking out time from your hectic schedule for this. And although this is for Odisha, but I want to keep the conversation in English so that even more people who are watching this video can have their doubts cleared on vaccination. So the first question that's on mind within a lot of people is that you take your first dose of vaccine, and after a few days, there have been some cases where people have got the infection even after taking the first shot. So the first question that comes to their mind is that, once they recover, do they have to repeat their first dose again? Or, what should be the ideal gap between the first and the second dose in case they get the infection after the first dose?
I'll give the answer straightforward. If someone is after the first dose getting infected, then from the recovery, they should wait for about 30 days to take the second dose. There is no need of repetition. The reason behind this is, if someone is suffering from COVID after the first dose, COVID infection itself is a challenge to the human body, and the immune mechanism which is there supposed to be active following any vaccination is defective following infection. So that means following the first dose, the body's immune mechanism was okay, and subsequently when the subject suffered from corona, the immune mechanism has a little bit compromised, and if you give a second dose, the second dose may go waste. So for that reason, we recommend that from the recovery, at least wait for 30 days, at least, and then you take the second dose. If the recovery is not known, then you can wait 45 days from the day you are infected. Because let us suppose if someone is infected on day 1, after 15 days probably he will clear the virus, and from that day we will count 30 days. So total is 45 days from the date of infection or 30 days from the date of recovery.
Okay, so which means that is very clear that you don't have to repeat your first dose, you just have to delay by 30 days minimum your second dose from the date of recovery.
Absolutely.
All right, wonderful. So the same question with the second dose as well. There have been, of course, the cases of people getting the infection after the first dose are more than cases where people have got infected after the second dose. But there still have been a few cases where people have got the infection even after the second dose. So in that case, what happens? Does the efficacy of the second dose remains, or after recovery, should the person again repeat the second dose?
No. He doesn't have to repeat it. The problem why it happens, many people, they get the infection after the first dose. Maybe the immunity level is not sufficient enough. Many people are getting after the second dose, maybe still the immunity is not sufficient enough, because immunity level comes at least 4 weeks after the second dose. If let us suppose I have taken a second dose today, that means still 4 weeks I am still susceptible to contract the infection. Most people, they contract the infection either at the vaccination center where they are contracting. Number 2, they could have got a psychological confidence, overconfidence we can call it, and the people, they think that anyway now I am vaccinated, I am protected. So they may contract. And the third possibility could be the virus strain, which is a new virus strain, which is a rare possibility, and it has affected. So nevertheless, if someone has taken 2 doses and subsequently is suffering from infection, if it is beyond 30 days, then we need to investigate. Why? That means antibody level is insufficient in his body. And we have already told very clearly that none of the vaccines are 100% effective. So that means COVID appropriate behavior is need to maintain despite of the vaccination.
Absolutely. So the bottom line is that, at least 1 month, as that is 4 weeks after the second dose, one has to be even more careful, because there is a possibility that you could still get infected even after the second dose. Till 4 weeks at least it takes. That's the general time for antibodies to develop in your body. Is that what I get from your conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay, so that again brings me back to the question where you said that there could be a possibility that you get during the first shot, maybe from the vaccination center, or because people are getting very relaxed once they've taken the vaccine, as you very rightly said. So if it's a COVID inappropriate behavior, they could have contracted the virus. But what are the possibility that suppose I have the virus in me? I mean, I'm already COVID positive. Probably I'm not displaying any symptoms, and I have my vaccination due tomorrow, and I don't know that I'm COVID positive because I'm asymptomatic, or probably it's just gotten into me, and I've taken the vaccination. What kind of an impact can the vaccination have in such cases on the patient if he or she is COVID positive and goes and takes the vaccine?
Nothing per se. Only thing is, let us suppose I have the virus and I have taken the vaccine shot and subsequently I'm suffering. Then I may have a confidence, a negative confidence, saying that probably my vaccine did not work. That's the only disadvantage. And for that matter, you need not go for any investigation before taking the vaccination process. Nothing is needed. If you are asymptomatic, then you can go ahead. In our phase 3 trial, we have followed for the same principle, and there were no issues. So if someone is COVID positive but asymptomatic, taking a vaccine shot will not cause any harm. It may not work. That's the thing.
Okay, but it won't cause any harm, because
definitely
there were some rumors that it could aggravate the condition, and it could lead to it can cause harm. So that's ruled out.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Is there any medication that before a day of the vaccine, that the day you are going for your vaccination, or say a few days after your vaccination, are there certain medications that you should be avoiding just to be on a safe side?
Not typically. There has been a product insert from the Covaxin saying that those who are on anticoagulants should avoid vaccination. But those anticoagulants are blood thinners. They are specifically referring to a particular group of drugs like heparin, warfarin products. Usually those products are given only to the people who have heart prosthesis. Prosthesis valves, they are using it. In those cases only, very rare conditions. So you need to check if you are taking any kind of a drug. With these drugs, can I take the vaccination? You have to consult your physician before taking them. But there are no specific contraindication. If you are taking any drug, you need not be vaccinated. There is no specific contraindication.
There was also, I had heard about it that, if you have taken the vaccine, you should avoid any sort of painkiller for a few days. Is there any logic to that?
Yeah, there has been some reports like in the WhatsApp also, and the fact check from the websites also. What we got is a doctor following the vaccination taking a NSAID and suffered. There was a mortality, but unfortunately they were not linked. So the point is very clear that following the vaccination, you can take the medicines, but it is always advisable to observe following the vaccination what is happening. For that reason, we recommend only plain paracetamol tablet, Dolo 650, Crocin 650, or any of such tablet for adults, or for the younger generation. Accordingly, the dose calculation has to be done. have any other symptoms, you should report to the doctor to find out whether it is because of the vaccine or something else the person is suffering from.
Okay. So on this, since we're talking about the vaccination, there are also concerns now concerning the availability, which is of course very natural. So what if I have taken the first shot and unfortunately because of availability issue, my second shot is being delayed? If it's like, of course, we have different time slots. For Covaxin has a 30-day, difference, and for Covishield, it's I think 45 to 60 days is what they say that you can. So, how long can that delay happen? Like for reasons that are not under my control, if my shot is being delayed, what kind of a harm can happen if my second shot is getting delayed by 7 days, 10 days, or 15 days, or whatever?
Yeah. Now I'll go one by one. For example, if someone is taking Covaxin has recommended for the second dose has to be taken at least 4 to 6 weeks after the first dose. So that means 4 to 6 weeks is the gap. Within that window period, someone's supposed to take it. Similarly, for Covishield, it has been recommended by the Government of India is the 6 to 8 weeks. But literature has already come saying that if you delay for the Covishield, if you delay the second dose beyond 12 weeks, that means almost 3 months, then the ability to protect, that is what we call it as effectiveness, is higher. Now, so to be specific, prescription would be for Covaxin 4 to 6 weeks, for Covishield 8 to 12 weeks, or still more. Not an issue.
Okay.
There could be an issue with the application what we are using, the Aarogya Setu or CoWIN app, because the CoWIN app has not been designed in such a way. It gives a specific limited time period, window period of, in case of Covaxin, 4 to 6 weeks and 6 to 8 weeks in case of Covishield. But for that, no choice. This is an administrative issue. So but technically there is nothing wrong.
Okay, but just to repeat what you just said, so I get it. For Covishield, if there is a delay, it wouldn't be much of a problem. But in fact, on the contrary, you said it has literature has come where it says that the efficacy even goes up if there's even a delay of beyond 6 to 8 weeks. But in case of Covaxin, suppose my second shot is due, and for some reason, for some problem, I'm not able to get my second shot within that 4 to 6 weeks. What happens then? Do I have to again repeat the process, or I just go ahead with the second shot whenever
Answer is no. So what happens is, in our body, the first dose, when it is gone inside, our immune system has been challenged already. Booster gives the sufficient level of protection. If the booster is delayed beyond this stipulated period, what we call it as 4 to 6 weeks in case of Covaxin and 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 12 weeks in case of Covishield. If it is beyond that, the subject is maybe at risk of contracting the disease. But you need not repeat the vaccination. The second dose, you can take as and when it is available, because it will work as a booster.
Okay, wonderful. There are also some reports suggesting that there is a dip in immunity after the second dose. How far is that true?
Actually, that is, to the best of my knowledge, not true.
Okay.
Following any vaccination, the system is challenged. When it is challenged, then it is producing antibodies. But generally, immunity doesn't reduce. But the point is, following vaccination, at least 24 to 48 hours, you should not be challenging your body as such. And the routine practice of any substances like alcohol, smoking or tobacco, all those things should preferably avoided, for the reason that these things like alcohol and smoking, tobacco, they reduce the body's immunity. And when our immune system is needed to work for production of antibodies, and you are giving a inhibitor. So for that reason, it should be avoided. Otherwise, there is no risk per se, which at least I have not come across any literature to talk about that.
Okay. And on the same note, when we are talking about immunity and vaccination, since now 18 to 44 age group people are vaccinating, and there'll be a lot of girls who are taking, young girls who will be taking the vaccines as well. There was again some rumors that, during menstruation, your immunity generally comes down, and there could be a risk, if you're taking the vaccine before the, a menstruating cycle and during the first few days of your menstruation, it could cause a little bit of problem because your immunity would be low. How far would that that information be? As far
The
as
first statement, what you mentioned is yes, it is true that during the menstruation there could be a little fall in the immunity. There could be, but straightforward answer: there is no relationship with the vaccination process, because in our clinical trials we have done that, and there is no relationship. You don't have to worry at all. But you need to take protection, like I mentioned some time back, is at least for 24 to 48 hours following the vaccination, you should not exert yourself.
Okay. Those are the only precautions. And so, at the end of the, who are there still, any section that should avoid the vaccine? I mean, though it's open from 18 to above 18 years, is there still a section that should avoid the vaccine?
There are two sections which I can clearly see. Number one, among those which has not been indicated by the Government of India. Government of India, Drug Controller General of India does not recommend to any of those individuals upon whom it has been not tested. Like, for example, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and subjects below 18 years. It has not been tested in India. Until the testing is done, the recommendation would not be coming. And today, the information you might have aware that between 2 to 18 years, the test for the trial, the recommendation has come. For the trial, the approval has come. So once the trial results are ready, then probably we can give the vaccination. But in case of Covaxin, 12 to 18 years, already there has been a recommendation, because during the phase 2 trial, the age limit was shifted from 18, it was brought down to 12. So that means anyone beyond 12 years can take it, but we have to refer to the government guidelines for that. Okay. The second group of the people who are excluded from that is any condition which is compromising your immune status. Now, for example, if someone is suffering from any cancer, if someone is on a cancer chemotherapeutic drugs, or any immunological condition, or any immune suppressive drugs, like, for example, someone is taking steroids for a different disease, rheumatoid arthritis, someone is taking steroids. In those cases, the vaccine will not work efficiently. If someone is having a kidney disease, then the vaccine might not work.
Okay, but can it cause a harm as well?
No.
Okay. So, the last question, but just in addition to this question, when you said lactating mothers, there are ladies who, who feed their kids even beyond, generally beyond even 6 months and 1 year, and even beyond that, there are some mothers who keep feeding their kids, going beyond the regular time frame. So what about those ladies? I mean, is it like as long as you're lactating, as long as you're feeding your child, you should not take the vaccine, or it's okay after a year, 1 year, or something like that?
See, the point is, as I mentioned, if it is not tested, it is not recommended. Okay. But your question is, will it cause any harm? Other than India, in several countries, they have found out that during pregnancy, the vaccination has been given, and the pregnancy is safe as well as the child is safe. During lactation, the vaccination has been given, and of course, there are different vaccines, but they're all kill vaccines. Till date, there is no single vaccine in the world which is a live vaccine. So the live vaccines are problematic in case of pregnancy and lactation, but these are all kill vaccines. And the third thing what I want to mention is, in our trial, despite of informing to our trial participants that during the trial you should avoid pregnancy, there has been several reports of pregnancy, and they are all safe. Of course, this was done inadvertently. Some mistake from the participant side. The women have become pregnant, and we are following them up. Until today, they are all safe. The results are yet to come out. But bottom line is, yes, during pregnancy and during lactation, it is safe, but there are no guidelines.
Okay, so I'll end this. Thank you so much, but I'll end this with one last question. The new strains, the mutants. The second wave is we are seeing a lot of young people, dying this time. I know the figures do say that it's not really very high compared to the first wave, but I don't know that there's so much of fear right now as far as the younger population is concerned, and there's also a fear that probably the medication or the line of treatment that is being followed right now, which we have been following since March for COVID treatment, probably it is not as effective for the new mutants or for the new strains. And for the vaccine as well, do you think it is offering some amount of protection even against the new strains, considering the fact that they were developed when these strains were not in the picture?
Circulation. Yeah. The point is, corona is caused by a RNA virus. And RNA virus is notorious to manifest several mutations. Other RNA viruses also, they come up with several mutations. For example, influenza virus, it comes every now and then, the mutation occurs. But nevertheless, for that influenza vaccine, we have, newer vaccine are produced based on the newer strain. Fortunately, coronavirus has not undergone so many mutations that it is escaping the immunity provided by the existing vaccines.
Okay.
Till date. But there has been identified 2 strains, I am not able to recollect exactly, that who have escaped the immunity. That is, but not reported from India. But as long as we are in India and the prevalent strains, what we are likely to come across, the currently available vaccines are fairly good enough to take care of us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Your last words for everybody who's listening to you at this point of time, on vaccination. What would you like to inform the people of not just Odisha, but everybody who's listening to you at this point?
100 years back, the Spanish flu came and devastated the world across. And that time, we were not having enough technical capacity, we were not having hospital beds, we were not having ventilators or oxygen supply or remdesivir or any of that kind. Vaccine was out of question. And human civilization was able to control. And now also we will be able to control without any of this. Then how did they do? By practicing only one vaccination, that is called social vaccination, is social distancing and mask and sanitation, appropriate use of mask. Now, this particular thing is the Brahmastra, we can call it, because there is no single vaccine which is 100% effective in this world. So vaccines are secondary, mask and social distancing is primary.
And double mask, anything on the mask that you would like to advise, because there's also a lot of literature that keeps coming about the usage of masks.
As doctors, we are using double mask. Not only that much, I would like to show this. We have a 5-layered, 6-layered 95, along with that a 5-layered inner mask. So that is almost 6 plus 5, 11-layered mask. Throughout the day, we are able to sustain. If we can sustain throughout the day, why not the common man can use simply a double-layered mask? A double-layered cloth mask is good enough to take care of that.
Okay, so a double-layered cloth mask is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. It's been a pleasure getting these queries answered. I'm sure a lot of people would benefit from whatever you have informed today. And thank you for taking out time from your hectic schedule for this. And thank you for saving lives. On behalf of COVID Resources Odisha, we would like to thank the entire medical fraternity who's been working on their toes to help people. We can only just say thank you to all the doctors and the healthcare system. Thank you so much.
It was my privilege.